Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is the newest film directed by Gore Verbinski, starring Sam Rockwell as a man who is going back in time to prevent the AI apocalyptic future that he's from. Hello, everyone. I know it's been a couple weeks since I have posted a video. Been extremely busy. Haven't really had a chance to make it out to the movies, but I did get a chance to check out Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die last week. And I just wanted to start with what my expectations of this film going into it were. I had not heard anything about this film whatsoever in the buildup of it. I had just heard the buzz that was coming out of Fantastic Fest about it. That is a film festival that I kind of tend to keep an eye on and look out for reviews and people who are there and kind of get an idea of what's being shown there. Just because that festival tends to show movies that I really like. And everyone that saw it there basically has been, singing its praises since it premiered there back in September. So this was a movie that, was put onto my radar. One that, I only saw the one trailer that came out a couple of months ago. I think it was shortly after its premiere at Fantastic Fest. And it definitely intrigued me. It looked like a movie that I would definitely like. And, I got to see it last week. And I got to say, this is one of my favorite movies of the year so far. I know I've already said that about a couple of other films, but I think we're off to a really, really good start in 2026. And I think Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die deserves to be in that category. And for me, what works very well about this film is the fact that it is just a really good science fiction satire comedy film that has an extremely interesting concept. Like I said, Sam Rockwell's character is from an apocalyptic future where basically AI takes over the world. He has to travel back in time. He comes to the same night every single time he travels back, and he goes to a diner, and he has to essentially pick a whole group of characters that are essentially going to help him save the world. Now, we only experience one of these events, right? So he's done it multiple times when you're introduced to him at the beginning of the film. And so it's only one night that we see, with these group of characters. And right off rip, Sam Rockwell just immediately gets you hooked into the film in the, opening scene. It's pretty much the whole scene that was in the trailers where he goes into the diner and he's kind of giving his whole spiel. And right then and there, it sets the tone for the type of movie that you're going to get. And like I said, it's one that has a lot of sci-fi elements and a lot of comedic satire elements combined together very effortlessly. And it really makes for a really, really fun time at the movies. I also think the commentary in this film about how, society is with their cell phones and how, they don't interact with other human beings in the way that they should because we're all so addicted to our phones. And, the commentary of how AI is kind of coming into that and even making it worse and changing things, probably for the worse, was just really, really interesting. This is a movie that is set, in a futuristic time. It's not our current world as we know it right now, but it also feels like a world that we're not too far off from. So this movie kind of feels like a cautionary tale, but it's one that is not in the more like dark and dreary way that other apocalyptic movies have, kind of portrayed our world, because it has that satirical comedy to it. And I think the way that it world builds in this film was actually really genius in the way that it tells the story and the structure of the narrative. Again, I'm not going to go into like really heavy spoilers in this film. There might be mild stuff I'll talk about in this review. But the way it tells the story is essentially takes, each character or a group of characters, if their, stories are intertwined, and it goes the days previous to the event at the diner, the start of this event, and it kind of tells you their story and also lets you know where, like, their corner of the world and how everyone reacts to this technology and interacts on a day-to-day basis. So I thought that really created a way for the narrative to not really give you everything right up front and kind of reveal and world build very slowly and with each character and their dynamic and in their corner of, the city that they're in. And I thought that was a really good way to introduce the narrative and push the story forward. and each time it cuts to a new character and a new background that they're giving you. I think the film gets a little bit, I wouldn't say less comedic, but it starts to build the heart and the things about this movie that are going to make you attached to these characters. So I felt they did a really good job with the way that they structured the film. And again, I'm not going to get too heavy into spoilers, but I will get a little mildly into spoilers here. But there is a gag in this film, that is surrounded around school shootings. And if you've seen the film, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But that is such a dark and depressing subject matter that this film uses it in such a clever way that it is the funniest gag in this film. When you get to this portion of the film, that was where me and the theater I was in had the loudest laughs. I mean, and it was in a shocking way. Like there was people like, "Oh my god, I can't believe." Like we were all commentating at how crazy this gag was in this movie, and it goes on for longer than I would have thought. But I felt like that gag specifically is what encapsulates what works so well about this film, in that it is so hilarious and makes you laugh, but also the commentary surrounded around it is so true and is so relatable. And something like school shootings, it talks about how in our society we react to these things or our lack thereof. And I just thought that was so brilliant and so clever, and done in a way that was just so effective for me. And I kind of talked about it earlier, but I want to kind of circle back on it. This movie does a very good job at blending the comedy with the more emotional and heart wrenching moments. And like I said, that I think that goes as the story progresses, it gets better and better at that. Like when you first start off in this movie, and like I said with that Sam Rockwell monologue at the beginning, I mean it's just hitting you with joke after joke after joke. And I'll be honest, I was a little worried when the movie started, even though it did get me in and it did capture my attention. I was a little bit worried that it was going to be all comedy and no emotional stakes or no emotional attachment, and I was wrong. And it slowly, progressively gets more to the heart and to the emotion of the film as you go on. So I thought that the balance in this film was done perfectly. And man, the cast in this film are all fantastic. Obviously, the standout to me is Sam Rockwell. He's just so charismatic. He's having a really good run here. I think between this and the little small role that went viral that he had in The White Lotus just continues to prove how much of an underrated actor he is. I think he is really, really good. He's very charismatic. Every time he's on the screen, he just chews it all up and all the attention is on him. And he's just so good. He's so funny, but can do the, emotional, heart-wrenching moments. So his performance, he's the standout. He's great in this film. But even the supporting cast is really, really good. Haley Richardson, I thought she's fantastic. I know she was also in White Lotus, if I'm not mistaken, in season 2. She was really, really good in the film. You obviously have Michael Pena and Zazie Beetz. They're a couple in this film, and I thought they had a really good dynamic and chemistry with one another. And their storyline, I thought, was really, really good when you get that backstory. And then Juno Temple as well. I don't know of anything else that I've seen her in. She does seem familiar, though I probably should have looked it up before this video. But she, is... I don't want to spoil what her role is in this film, but I think she is one of the people that brings a lot of emotion to the film. So, for me, the cast all around here, I thought did such a great job, and this was really a good ensemble film. And to kind of wrap up everything that I, loved about this film, I really think the film peaks in its third act. I think the movie slowly, gradually gets to the climax at the end, and I think where they leave you off is a really good ending. It's not your stereotypical, like, everyone wins, everything is fine ending, but where it leaves you at, I think could be interpreted either way, and also makes you think about it the more and more, time passes from when you saw it. It's one. It's an ending I think that can really just be left open for interpretation. And I also think it's an ending that if this movie makes, enough money or is well received enough, that they actually can do a sequel. And I'll be honest with you, when we get really good original films like this, I'm not someone who is like, hey, we need a sequel, we need to, make this an IP or anything like that. But I really would love to see a sequel to this film. I'll be honest with you, where it leaves and kind of what it sets up. I think that you could have some really good ideas going into a second film, and I would be all for it and would be there day one. And I'll be honest, I really don't have any negatives for this film. I would just say that it is a weird film, right? It's a very it goes for it. It's very out there. It's very weird. So I don't believe it's going to have a super broad appeal, right? I would just say if you go and watch the trailer and you think that you might like this film or something that interests you, go see it. And even if you can't go see it, buy it on digital or rent it or whatever and watch it because this film is really, really good. Like I said, I think 2026 so far, we're only halfway through February, and this came out a couple weeks ago, and I think so far 2026 is off to a really, really good start, which is promising because we have some a lot of good titles and a lot of good movies that are set to come out this year. So I think we're off to a really good start in 2026. And for me, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is the third movie of this year that I look at and I say, that's probably going to be in my top 10 by the end of the year. So if any of these three movies that I've started the year off saying that about end up falling out of my top 10, wow, we're going to have a really, really good year in film. And this one, too, is just an original film, right? So it's something that I always encourage people to go see and give these movies a chance because I don't think you'll regret it. But that's pretty much it for me, guys. If you've seen Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, go ahead, comment below. Let me know what you thought about it. Let me know if you're seeing any other movies this month. I got, a few more movies I want to see this month. And I want to start doing rankings again. I haven't done yet one for January, but I'm planning on making that video here in the next day or two and getting that put out. So yeah, like I said, great year so far in films. I really hope it keeps up, and we keep getting quality films like this every month. It will be a really, really great year if we do. So that is it for me, guys. Everyone, have a great night.